Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello. Welcome to Gina Brown Podcast Smart Wisdom. And today we have a great episode in store for you. Our guest is Kimmisha Michels, and she is the CEO of um, In Living Agency, In Living Creative Agency. Sorry about that. And I can't wait to get into this great conversation. If you're a business person, entrepreneur who needs some nuggets, this conversation is definitely for you. Welcome, welcome, Kimmisha.
Thank you, Jeanna. This is a great opportunity. Thank you for having me on your show today. Sorry about that little blip.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. I'm so thrilled about this topic because being in business, there's just so many things that come our way, and you are just rich with information, experience, and you are going to help the audience in some of these areas. So, to start out as an entrepreneur, people sometimes think about, oh, should I go into business? Should I not go into business? When should I go into business? So, how did you get started in business?
My first, it started off working in corporate America, and I remember them hiring these high dollar consultants, you know, spending like $500,000 to bring in consultants, business consultants. And they were supposed to solve all of these problems. But all I saw were, speeches, but I didn't see them solving problems.
Mm,
And when a company is spending that kind of money on a consultant, you should be really solving problems because that's what they're bringing you in for, instead of good speeches about what you're going to do. And so when I saw these consultants being paid, but then the company still had to file for bankruptcy, that was on more than one occasion. So it really got me to thinking, because all the issues that they claimed were their hot issues weren't their issues at all. It was the things that they deemed unimportant that were really their issues. So I wanted to start a consulting businesses that help new businesses put their infrastructure together and then offered a management service. And then just making sure that they were protecting their assets and stuff. And then along the way, clients would ask for design work. And so I just started servicing, helping small businesses. And then along the way, my mom passed away. And
yikes.
so when I went to the mortuary and they brought me out all these templates, I was like, uh, are you serious? You really want me to use a template to define my mom's last words? You want me to use a template that says there was nothing special about her? I was like, this is a problem. This is a
Right.
major problem. So then I decided to design my own bereavement line and went back to the mortuary and became a design specialist.
Mm,
Did a lot of their high profile funerals. Um, and then after doing that for a while, I just started looking at the marketplace, seeing how we are conditioned to accepting templated process, templated designs. Same thing, nothing special about your business. Let's just throw your logo on this template, change the color, and bada boom, bada bang, you're done. Out the door you go. And by the way, that'll be $10,000 for that.
exactly. Exactly. So, man, let's unpack a little bit of that. So you found the need. One, you were presented with something, and you're like, no, we're not doing that. Are you crazy for even presenting this to me as an option? Um, and so how quickly did you act on that? Did you ponder it for a while? Was it months, days, years?
Uh,
How long did it take you to transition and like have your own service?
It took a move from Denver to Colorado Springs to change it because the mortuary that I was working for, they kind of like you right there, hands on. And
Mhm.
so, even though we did a couple of things from the Springs, they still like that you close because I would sometimes meet with the families to create whatever I was
Mhm.
going to create for the service.
Mhm.
So I had to change gears. So by then, I had already done the research and I had my business plan of how I was going to change the world in multimedia. Because, you know, anytime I went to Staples or a print shop and I would see customers come in to pick up their work and to see
Mhm.
that disappointment on their face, like, really, this is the best I'm going to get.
For
And
your loved one, right? It's
uh,
like,
yeah, but even for businesses,
oh,
they
for
were
business.
picking up their design work or looking at proofs and just seeing that, well, this is not what I really wanted. So I wanted to create a space where they could come in and get true designs that reflected who they were. And that's just kind of how it all got started.
Hmm. Okay. That is good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. And then from there, it's been evolving.
Yes. So from there, I did a little bit of printing, some shirts, and just built a reputation for getting quality and one-off work. Um, Even started winning awards for those one-off and stuff. And I
That's
went into
awesome.
it just because I was passionate and I just didn't want people to be essentially thrown on an assembly line that said
Mhm.
there was nothing special about them when we're
More customized, more personable, right? Not
right,
so cookie cutter. Hmm.
right.
What so what is your perspective on business planning? Tell us more. Entrepreneurs sometimes hit the target on this one and sometimes they miss it. So,
Right. Now, if I was able to go back, the one thing that I would change mainly is deciding what type of business I want to be.
mhm.
Because when I started my business, I wasn't in it for the money. So it
Mm,
was a hobby. But
mhm.
and so charging money, receiving money wasn't my highest priority. It was meeting the needs of the customer. So I only charged a fraction of what I should have charged. Um,
Charge the minimal.
well, sometimes over because uh, I had convinced myself that if I charge a higher amount, they won't buy. So
Mm,
I settled on, oh, well, if I charge them $5, that'll be okay. But I learned that no, that was a big problem because I had a hard time paying my bills because I wasn't charging enough. But
right.
that passion inside of me, it's like, well, I got to serve the people. I got to serve. I got to give them something that they're going to be proud of. That when they're out there, you know, it represents who they were.
Right. But
But
then you found, what did you find when you were going on that approach? It was like, tell us what happened. What happened was
A
This
reality
is
hit
gonna this
me
is
in the
gonna
face.
save at least 5 people, let me tell you. At least 5 people. This is gonna help somebody.
Yes. What I realized is one of the reasons why I wouldn't charge is because I didn't have the right mindset. I didn't
Mm,
think I was worth the price. Um, to a certain degree, I kind of had that, um, well, I could just make it up in value. But no, volume doesn't cover. So it just caused like a trail of bad decision after the next bad decision. But at the time when you're in it, you don't see it until
right.
it slaps you in the face, and you're like, "Holy crap! I really got to do something different." But even though you want to do something different, if your mindset doesn't align with the goals, you're going to fall into the same trap again, same beliefs, and repeat, just do it differently.
Exactly. What 2 things, can you, share on how to have a strong mindset or believe in yourself when it comes to pricing?
Mm. So, two things. I, in today's environment, I honestly believe you need to have the right coach, whether it's a performance coach or a lifestyle coach. You need a coach to help you align your mindset where you want to go for goals. Because if you don't, um, you'll fight with imposter syndrome. Um,
Mhm.
you may not even have the self esteem because maybe you're coming out of a bad relationship. Like I was in a bad relationship, and in that relationship, it was always preached that I would never be successful. So I would self sabotage.
Mm,
I would have
mhm,
great opportunities, and I would find a way to mess it up,
mm.
because in the back of my head, it was, you're never going to be successful. So just stay in this, stay in the poor.
Stay in the unsuccessful lane because that's what everybody's telling you. And, in your heart, you're like, I'm gonna be a success. I am a success. And then they're all like, "Nee, nee, 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 nee." And then you're like, well, maybe they're right.
Yeah, yeah. If one thing went wrong, see, I told you, you weren't going to be successful, and you start thinking that. So you stay in that lane. So it takes somebody who could come in who's objective and set you on the right track, reset your mind. And then you also need somebody who can help you with your numbers, whether it's an accountant, CPA, a fractional controller, somebody who could come in and explain to you that if you if you do not price yourself accordingly to your skill or where you're trying to go, you're not going to be able to pay your bills. Um, you are going to uh, damage your reputation. People aren't going to trust you, um, and you won't achieve your goals. You won't know how to forecast so that you know if you're on point, which will help you keep from getting stagnant. So you could be in business and you could be doing, let's just say you do 100 grand a year, you'll get stuck in that 100 grand, but you're not profitable. You may not be profitable. Let me rephrase that. So just depending on your business structure. Um, a lot of times we don't include office rent, the cost of employees, cost of um, marketing. We don't put those numbers into our pricing.
Hmm.
We just see money coming in, so we must be all right, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Everything's great.
Until you find out you're
Your,
short.
ex- your expenses are like, wait a minute, just scooping it out like a vacuum. Shoo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So
yeah, those are great tips as far as mindset, the right coaching, and accounting, finances to make sure that you have the right team to help you forecast. And then at some point it gets better, right? So you know how to price yourself properly if you need help in that area. And then but to evolve though, right? It would be the next question I have for you. Like what would you do differently as you did start out in business, or is there anything that you would do differently knowing what you know now today?
yes, I trusted the wrong people.
Oh no, don't say it's true.
It
No, no,
is. It is. And
no.
at that time, I had a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but I had some, but I invested it into the wrong things because I believed what other people were telling me. Like when I
What they
was
could do for you, right? Oh, I
right.
could do this for you. I could do this for you. And then you have it, and then you're like, okay, I trust. And then what did you end up with, Kamisha?
A whole bunch of disappointment. Um, and yes, and I'm gullible. I'm a sucker for a good story.
Mhm.
But then
What would you say to someone to not go through those steps? What would they do differently to make better choices when they're building their team or getting that expert help?
so the very first thing I'm going to say when you're going to go into business is take the time to first determine what kind of business you want to be. So if you're going to be a hobbyist, um, are you going to be a Fortune 500 company? Are you going to be a billionaire? What kind of company do you want to be? Because if you know where you want to be, then it will help order your steps. So,
And the kind of businesses are like sole proprietor, that S corp, um, the limited LLP types of businesses, right? The type of entity to set up. Is that what you're referring to?
um, yes, that is a key part. And if you're not sure, it's always good to get advice from somebody that um, you guys are on the same level. Um,
Mhm.
building your support system, finding groups that align with where you're trying to go, because aligning with people who are just going to feed you negativity of, oh, you're never going to make it, you're never going to make it. So you might as well just give up now. Uh,
Right.
you don't want those people in your corner at all. But it is imperative to build a strong foundation from the beginning and to plan and not plan for today, plan for longevity. So don't be so quick to name your business because you need to know, is that business name built for longevity?
That's a good tip.
and
That's a great tip.
and
Hmm.
what audience are you going to serve? Do you know how big your industry is? Because if you don't know how big your industry is, and let's just say you're in $1 trillion industry and you're only making 50 grand out of $1 trillion, then one, you're insulting yourself. Uh, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, and it's just disrespectful to yourself.
So
Why work in an industry that's worth so much and not go for a percentage of that industry?
yes. So tell me, that is so good, so good. And I want to make sure we have enough time to get into some of the meat of who your clients are, who you serve, and how you help them. Um, give us that snapshot of how you impact um, in this business space.
So, like all this advice I'm giving you, let me, I've experienced it myself. So, because I wanted to stay in my little lane, because it was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I knew that one, my ideal client was always going to be government, I didn't have the mindset to go after it. I dabbled in it. I did a couple of federal jobs, and I was like, well, this would be cool. But then, you that imposter syndrome, you talk yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it
And
wasn't
you're helping the federal jobs. What are you helping them with?
at that time. It was merchandise, promotional items,
Okay.
apparel, and stuff. Um, and let me tell you, I had one contract. I worked on the bid, put my numbers together, and I looked at the numbers and I was like, oh, they're going to think this is too expensive. I waited right up until the moment it was due and decided not to turn in my bid after working on it for a month. I
Mm.
completely talked myself out of it. And then when the winning bid came out, and to find out my numbers were right on the market, I kicked myself in the butt. I was
Mm.
very disappointed in myself of why do you keep doing that? I would have opportunities, either I wouldn't respond or I find just some way to mess it up.
But now, what are you doing? That that was then. This is now.
Yeah, so now I don't really care. I put it in. You have a choice to either accept it or you don't. And if you don't, I'm not going to go chasing you. I just got to move on to the next because I know I'm going to get so many no's before I get into the yeses. So let me hurry up and get my no's out so I can get to the yeses.
There you have it. There you have it. So government are one of your key clients, and then are there any other segments or that you target as well?
Yes. So now we will be going after corporations to help with their communication initiatives. And that's the same with the government because as you grow, a lot of times you get breakdowns in your communication. So whether it's the wrong approach, wrong articulation, wrong audience that you've built the campaign around, and then you end up losing hundreds and thousands of dollars. So my job is to help save them that frustration and loss of money
Mm-hmm.
because I bring a fresh perspective that maybe they did not consider when they pulled all the research together.
Mm-hmm. So you are that third party, that third eye to help support what they have done the research on, but then you can say you can enhance here. You don't need this. You can just consult and like give them a better, um, what do we say, better support, better.
Yeah, so a lot of times, because the dynamics has changed with audiences, you have 3 seconds to entertain them or to grab their attention. And after that, uh, either they swipe to the left or they swipe to the right. And
Mhm.
so um, corporations and government agencies have to be a little bit more suave on how they connect with their audiences, whether it's using innovation to do that. Um, Maybe it's reframing the wording, um,
Mhm.
but
And the
finding that
communications.
yeah, finding that connection because it changes on a constant basis. So yes, that's
Oh,
it's like a solving a mystery.
I love it. I love it. Well, man, our time is winding down, and you've given us some great information and insight on your Enliven Creative Agency. But before we go, two things. One, I like to know how the audience can get in touch with you if they have questions or would like to hire you to do some work with them. And then, what is something where you use wisdom and making a decision?
Hmm. Well, the best way people can reach me by phone, which is 844-628-5496. Or they could also send me an email at kimm at enlib as in Victor, en.agency.
Mhm. And we'll have a link that posted in the description so people can find it there as well. And your wise wisdom.
Is make sure your business is healthy. If you don't have a healthy brand, you can't expand. You can't grow if you got internal fractures. And you don't know about these internal fractures until you face either a natural disaster, family emergency. Um, so it's important to really pay attention to what's going on within the brand. Do you have vendors that are diluting your brand? Do you have employees that are doing the same thing? Um, um, is are you confusing your audience with your messaging? Is your visuals not reinforcing your brand values? Do you even have any brand values? Uh, um,
Mm.
and are you servicing the right audience? And if you're not sure, we do brand evaluations where we break everything down and then let you know where your strengths and your weaknesses are, and if you need brand development.
Mm, that's really good. Thank you so much for sharing and talking to us. We look forward to learning more down the road. It is awesome, awesome, awesome. So I would say bye for now. And next, we're going to segment our way over to at the table.
Thank you.
At the table, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard me speak about this. At the table. What is at the table and why is it important? Being at the table is a metaphor for bringing communication and family together. At the table is when you are at the table at home eating a meal with your spouse, your partner, your friends, your children, particularly your children. This is a time when you're eating a meal together, you're engaging, you're talking, you're listening, you're learning how to overcome obstacles. You're learning what your family members are facing. Even you parents share a few nuggets of what is going on in your workspace so your children will understand what mommy and daddy are doing and what their life is like in the daytime or evening if you're work, different hours. But my point for at the table is to encourage conversations at home to build your communication skills, your articulation skills, and how to express yourself from what you feel and what you see and what you are passionate about. Because as life goes on into higher education, into the workplace, there's a moment or a time you're going to be at a different table and you would have already practiced how to speak, how to communicate because you've done this already at home. See my point? So being at work at the table in a boardroom, that's like all the way up to the highest tables, right? Boardroom conversations, CEO level conversations. But the practice has already been developed along the way. So I want to encourage you, family members, to get at the table at home and I would like you to email me. Send me scenarios of how being at the table at home is impacting your family life, and I would like to share it on the broadcast. So email at jeannabrownpodcast@gmail.com. And I will put a link down below as well for you to connect. And so to have an opportunity for me to read it and possibly share it on the broadcast in the future. And that's it. So I'm going to say thank you for tuning in to Jeanna Brown Podcast Smart Wisdom, and bye for now.